Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well today. Hope you guys had a nice weekend. And hope you guys are staying on your purpose and your plan. This, of course, is Vigor Warriors 2, and we're back with the 1% Club. And back with some more discussion. And hopefully, this is providing some information, helping you guys in your journey to this movement that is becoming more and more popular as time has gone on. I think it's really interesting how the years have kind of changed. When I was growing up, we were moving more away from all this kind of talk, and people wanted to be more progressive and liberal. And so they wanted to kind of go ahead with, be having all these sexual freedoms and all kinds of stuff like that. And now, slowly but surely, after a number of years, I think people realize that this is more self destructive than it is helpful. For a little bit of short term pleasure, people turn the wrong direction. They get caught into this. They go down that rabbit hole, and all of a sudden now they're getting worse and worse. And these type of things are not, not the tempting things are not something that turns out well for a lot of them, because they kind of destroy themselves as they go through. So, but thank you first for all the subscriptions, comments, and likes. If I didn't get a chance to, I had a few people, and I think this Saturday maybe I didn't. But Scott Allen, thank you. Isaac, Kevin, Doug, DSM Tech, thank you for your idea about this is a lifestyle change, and it certainly is a lifestyle change. And we'll talk about more of that as the week goes on. So other comments and things I'm going to talk about during the week a little bit here. We'll do one today on Blissful Oasis, when he made a comment on use it or lose it. So thank you about that. We'll talk about that in a second. And then don't worry about a difference of goals. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. Sometimes they overlap. Listen to your intuition. So we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Fabian talked about how it's using your energy, so we'll kind of focus on that one. And then Tyrone, HVD, the fourth, we'll talk about controlling urges, become easier to longer on self-semen retention. And then also that the universe seems to be on your side when you are retaining, and I think that's absolutely correct. And then King Uche, we had something on business and success. We'll talk about business a little bit during the end of the week too. So, all right. So again, comment from Blissful Oasis. So a shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for the comment. Let's talk about this a little bit in terms of our journey. The idea of using it or losing it. I go back to the old show that I used to watch a lot called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, we talked about the idea that, and I think I brought up this example a few times, that in that one scene, the parents are sitting there and they haven't gotten out of bed. And I can't remember if it's Willy Wonka's parents, whoever it might be, but they haven't gotten out of bed for 6, 7, 8 years. I can't remember what it was. And they could not move. Literally, their body could not move, or they could not think their body was going to move. And it was really more because of atrophy, that they were not using these muscles. And this is really an important type of concept we talk about. Now, let's apply this to things that we're dealing with when it comes to retention and our whole plan. So when we look at the whole idea, and there's a couple of different ways to go with this. So one of the ways that we talk about is the fact that as you're developing your body, and as time goes on, you need to try to enhance your muscles, all your muscles. You need to enhance all your strength that you have. This is why I do the Fountain of Youth exercises. In my mind, there's no reason why a person can't live well into nearly 100 in using techniques and building their strength. Because the only way it doesn't get used is when you don't use it at all. And I believe a lot of people get older, and we'll test this theory. I'm 61, so we'll see in another 5, 10 years and see what happens. But a lot of people don't use their muscles. They sit down, or they become more sedentary in their ways as they get older, and they just don't use the muscles. And to my mind, some of that becomes atrophy. And that's when they start to kind of fall apart. The same thing talking about chakras. if you don't do these exercises and you don't move around, the chakras start to slow down, and that's when you end up getting older, in my mind. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but as a lot of you guys have some great comments over the weekend talking about that I seem to have a glow and that I'm talking this way and that, I seem a lot younger. And so I'll mention those comments tomorrow, but I appreciate those comments a great deal. But if that is the case, then a lot of that is because of the exercises and the semen retention, which all fits together. Because if you take a look at that book, and I have to show you a copy of the book here again. If you look at the copy of the book, it's called Fountain of Youth. I know I got it backwards here, but Fountain of Youth, and it's by Peter Kendler. There's a book right there. And I would highly recommend that, and we'll go over some pictures at some point. I know I want to kind of focus on that a little bit more. But the whole thing is that continues those exercises, and I do them every morning, religiously every morning, trying to keep those muscles tuned and tight. And at 61, I feel like I'm 25. I have been doing these exercises. Now, the other part of this, besides doing the exercises and making sure that you keep active all the time, is the fact that you're talking about express sexual excitement and energy. Now, the more active you are, and the more you drink water, and the more you do those other types of things, the more you're going to become, your blood's going to thin out more, in my opinion. And then you're actually going to go and be able to be more excited. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're losing energy, but the fact that you can get excited at something and kind of get aroused at something is not a bad thing necessarily. It does mean you have that energy. Now, you just have to transmute that energy when something like that happens and not fall into the point of edging and going into that kind of thing you're doing and to release that energy. So the whole idea is that what you want to do is recognize there's nothing wrong with having energy. Obviously, we all have it. But you want to use it for good purposes. You want to transmute it and not just throw it away. And a lot of people just throw it away, either with the affairs, intercourse they have with people that are meaningless in the long run, or they are basically kind of just doing it themselves, some pictures. All those things are just a waste of time. When it really comes down to it, however, you want to make sure that you recognize you're using it. You're going to continue getting, obviously aroused, and you're going to continue to exercise. And obviously, I think people who end up being in better shape, they do end up getting a stronger desire. They have stronger sexual energy. Now, how to use with that is always the key. And Napoleon Hill, in a great book called the Think and Grow Rich, he talked about the fact that way back, I think it's chapter 9, even back in the 60s and 50s, people recognized the idea of that men who really became something rich, they became wealthy, they had a lot of sexual energy. But instead of chasing women around, what they did was basically transmute that into goals. And they focused on achieving things more than just going ahead and chasing women around and just shooting all that energy out. And that's the whole key to this whole thing. You really want to recognize that you've got to keep that energy within you. You want to transmute that. You want to bring those nutrients and seeds throughout your body so you become a lot more healthier and you become stronger. So this whole idea of use it or lose it, I think it's a key quality here, because what you want to do is make sure you stay active. Even if you're in your 20s, learn the habit. Because many of you are in your between 20 and 30, and it may not be affecting you now, but I know I was about 35 years old when I started feeling it. I started feeling all the football injuries and all the stuff that I put myself in through all those years. And doctor had said to me, you need to change your lifestyle. And so that's why I kind of went to the Fountain of Youth stuff that I talk about here in the book. And I basically kind of went into trying to loosen my body, shore up my core, and I studied more about the chakras. And to me, it makes perfect sense. Now, whether you believe in the chakras or not, you still have to recognize the fact that as you exercise, as you do things, that's going to enhance your body and your ability to continue to live longer and a happier life. On top of this, as the book talks about, you become almost superhuman when you're able to retain. and only using that seed whenever you want to procreate or have children or do that with someone very special in your life. So the thing is, you really want to concentrate on this idea of using all your muscles. And even the muscle we're talking about that, creates all this loss of energy, it's not a problem if you get aroused. The problem doesn't occur until you start kind of feeding into the temptation, and now it gets to the point where it's getting stronger and stronger. I got my little kitty cat in the background. His name is Thor, of course, right, warriors? We are looking at then something that has to be something you have to control. You have to be able to be strong and be able to focus on the idea of really looking at how you transmute that energy. Because you don't want to get to the point where you have no sexual energy. This is not going to help people with no sexual energy. That is more of a doctor thing that you have to take care of. But for all of us talking and looking at this at the 1% club, we know that we have to use our energy to continue to be strong. And so if you don't use your energy, you're going to lose it. And that's another way to look at this statement he's talking about. So a lot of things are really perceptive in this statement. You're not only talking about making sure that you have sexual energy. You're not only talking about the fact that your whole muscles and everything you have, you need to use that or lose that. But we're also kind of talking about the fact that as you build your retention, you need to be able to kind of use all this strength you have to transmute energy, to be able to become stronger, to be able to kind of accomplish those kind of goals you want to accomplish. And so by not using it, right, not retaining, not doing what you need to do, you tend to fall back into patterns and you start losing a lot of that energy you have. And I just know with all the things that happened over the last couple of years, with the disease and things like that we've experienced as a country, the warriors are the ones who can kind of endure. And I have not been sick at all through all these years and all these last couple of years, especially since I'm at 890. I don't know what my card says, but what does it say? 892 days today. So we're getting close to 900. But that's because I fully believe it's a combination of this Fountain of Youth book that we talk about, as well as the semen retention. And so this is a very insightful comment, Blissful, and I appreciate your comments because this is something that is really important how we operate. We have to make sure that we continue until our last days on this earth to continue to work hard, expand our body, make sure we're strong, eat the right foods. I take the cold showers in the morning. I know someone asked me about fasting. I'll get back to that too at another point. But I try to fast between 8 in the morning and 12 in the afternoon because most of the time I pick up the weight at night. And so I try to kind of keep off of that a little bit so I can sleep better and also not have as much weight. And the weight is still a battle that I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to get to my 6-pack and I've still got a little ways to go. I mean, I got a 2-pack. I got a 2-pack, but I'm still missing 4. So we'll get there. We got to lose some more weight. But the thing is that with the retention, all your muscles become stronger. You keep your nutrients, and now it's just a matter of getting those stronger and using those. And that's why we always say we have to keep using it. The same thing with retention. You can't fall off. You can't fall off. You got to keep with it. Even if you relapse once, twice, go back to it. Because this is a lifestyle change, as DSM had mentioned, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in another another video that we do. But the idea, guys, is that we have to be strong. We have to continue on the journey. Don't give up. You may, even if you relapse, don't give up. Continue to build the strength and continue to go on and battle, in the future, because the temptation is always going to be strong. The temptation is going to be there. But you got to look at this and say, okay, I can grow from this. I'm going to continue looking at this. I'm going to continue growing my goals, my wealth, my physical nature, anything you talk about. But don't waste the time doing things that are not going to achieve your goals. And don't be around people that are not going to help you achieve those goals as well. And you have a choice. So choose the right way, but choose strong enough to know that you're going to continue with this battle. And as Blissful says, if you don't use it and you don't use what we're talking about, you're going to lose it. And in many ways, you're going to lose yourself. And that's what happens with a lot of people who get older and people who are younger. They self-destruct. A lot of people who don't use retention, they continue to go on and using other poor behaviors like drugs and gambling and all these things that I don't do. I don't smoke. I don't do things. I know we had somebody mention that as well in one of the texts. But it's wonderful. I don't recommend smoking. I don't recommend drinking. Having a wine once in a while in church, that's not the same thing. Getting communion or something like that, or even having some wine at dinner, that's a different story. Wine is actually, I believe, good for your blood. But drinking just to knock yourself out, drinking those type of things, that's not a good thing. So you have to be really kind of cautious of that. But I don't believe in putting things in my body that are going to be harmful, of course, but also not going to help me with the goals I'm trying to achieve. Now, have I been perfect with this? No, of course not. I've had a lot of issues in the food part, the sugar part. This is part of my goals that I look at. But I think you have to continue to keep trying, because any kind of muscle you have, you don't use it, it's going to go bad. And that's why you got to continue to exercise. You got to continue to fast. You got to continue to use retention and continue on these goals, my friends. And I want to see how long that I can go, because I want to see how my life has been so much better now than it used to be before the 900 days occurred here. And my life was better because of the Fountain Youth stuff, but I even fell off of that a little bit because I didn't have the retention part. And once the retention part was, I understood that, and I understood what semen retention really was and how you use it, well, then all of a sudden you're talking about a different type of thing. And now I'm experiencing all the great benefits that continue happening all the time. And it's just amazing. Okay. All right, my friends. Well, thanks again. Use it or lose it from Blissful Oasis. Thank you, my friend. Great insight. I appreciate that. And we'll talk again tomorrow. Until then, my friends, have a great day. Same channel. I think I'll say old Batman quote. Same channel, same bat channel. We'll do this tomorrow again, my friend. God bless you guys. Have a great day. And remember, every day is a new day to a wise warrior. Battle on, my friends. Battle on.